All right, guys, welcome to episode 5 of Ask Woodford. I'm your host, Christian Woodford, and this is going to be a damn good episode. Alex, good episode?
100.
100% good episode. So before I begin, I want to thank our sponsors. I didn't thank them last week, but thank our sponsors, Mac Iron Fitness. For all your equipment needs, go to macironfitness.com.au. They're the best in the business, and I only recommend Mac Iron. Go to them. Alex, fire away. Let's do this.
I actually got a repeat question. This is the second time question asker Nick Maines on Facebook. I really like this question, so I wanted to bring it here.
All right, go.
He's trying to find a spot in junior college basketball team to set his life up in the USA. He's an up-and-coming player, but 2 years ago he had an injury, broken wrist, and when he got back into basketball, it was never the same with getting back in touch until now. But up until now, coaches that I trusted with my career have left my side and seen no more value in me anymore. I sat at the end of the bench last year and I'm close to getting the same amount of minutes this year. And me being 19, time is running short as I would have had to sign with the college by the end of the next year. I reckon I can do it, but my parents don't want me to risk another year of dedicating myself to basketball because they feel I should be doing uni here. And I'm not really interested in that. So my question really is, how do I not let down my parents? And how do I show my coaches I deserve much more court time? Nick.
It's more of a psychology issue, isn't it? So you're probably asking, damn, you're in a pickle, aren't you, man? You got to do what's in your heart. You can't really just, if this is in your heart and it's something you really want to do and you want to put everything into it, man, do it. You don't ever let someone tell you that you can't do something. The amount of people who said that I couldn't do this at the start, they said there was no industry for it, you're wasting your time, you're not good enough. Everyone's going to have those negative thoughts. For me, my biggest thing was just to fuck that all off and go with what I believed in my heart. And my heart was telling me to fucking do this because I've always got this thing, never leave a stone unturned. So it's like, I don't want to look at back at my life when I'm 50 and say I should have done that. How many people have you been in your life that have said to you, oh, I could have done this, I could have done this. Say, shut the fuck up, man. You couldn't. You could have done it, but you didn't. You're making fucking excuses. No, I fucking hate that about excuses. Excuses doesn't mean shit. You didn't do it because you didn't put in the fucking time or effort or you didn't put your heart into it. Stop making bullshit lies saying yourself to convince yourself that, you could have done it. No, you couldn't. You didn't do it because you didn't put your heart into it. That's what I fucking hate about this career. It's all these kids going, oh, I fucking want to do what you want to do. Then go do what I did. It's possible I did it. I'm no smarter than anyone else, In all the tests I did at year 12, I'm no smart, I'm a dumbass, but I just threw my heart into it. I found a passion in life and I became successful because I pushed everything towards that one goal and I stuck at that one goal for long enough. And the biggest thing about this, if you believe it in your own heart, who gives a fuck what anyone else thinks? Just do it yourself. And that's the biggest thing that I found. I didn't give a flying fuck what my parents thought. I didn't care. If G Wood said don't do it, I said, well, fuck you, G Wood. I'm going to do it anyway. It doesn't matter. G Wood was always, my dad and mum always supported that down here all the time. That was my number one supporter. The only two people who ever believed in me, 3, was Jess Pickett, my former girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend. She was the one who started this with me. And without her, this wouldn't have been done. So Jess Pickett, if you're watching, you're probably not watching, but it's because of you and my parents, my mum and my dad. So they're the 3 people I've got to thank because no one else fucking believed me. No one gave a shit about me at the time. I was a nobody, so they believed in me, and that's all I needed, my spark to go on. But the number one thing is drive within yourself to want to do it, and that's what gave you the drive to message me, Alex, and say, this is what I want to do. So if you want to intern here as well, message me and say, I want to fucking intern here. I want to learn under you, and that's the biggest thing, drive. And make sure there'll be a lot of haters. There'll be a lot of people who say you can't do it. Well, it's a shit, man. If they say I don't give a fuck, I don't care. What are they going to do? Nothing. They're not going to help your career. There's a really good quote that says, and I don't know if you've seen it, the quote that says, why put all this energy into people who don't even make sense in your career, aren't going to help you in your career, and you're just going to hate on them? What's the point? Just leave them behind. And the best quote I ever got from my mate, one of my close mates, was saying, have you ever met a hater in a higher position than you're doing better than you? No, because they're jealous of where you are. They are jealous of where you are. So when you get hated on, take it as a compliment, brother. Take it as a compliment. I love it when people hate on me. I'm always like, what's this guy doing? Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. They want to do what I want to do, but they can't because they keep hating. Stop hating and just keep getting better yourself. My thing is focus on what I can control, which is what I do it myself, and release what you can't. Brother, go play something you love. Go play the sport. If you really want to do it, fuck what anyone else says and reach your dreams. Hopefully that's a good answer to that question.
All right.
And most of all, have passion for what you want to do.
Next one. Jayan, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Jayan Mora from Facebook.
Yeah.
He came across an article in New Zealand Herald.
And I didn't really understand this one when I read it, but go on.
Okay. You said you did.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I say a lot of things.
Anthony Hudson, a coach for the All Whites, wants to turn the team into footballing equivalent.
Actually, All Whites. You say All Whites, All Blacks.
Yeah.
Luka Pralovic. I've trained at All White, which All Whites are soccer. I've trained at Luka Pralovic. I might tag in this video, buddy. I've trained at All White. There we go. Luka Pralovic, you're a legend, mate. A fucking champion.
So Anthony Hudson, coach of the All Whites, wants to turn the team into the footballing equivalents of Iron Men or ultra-distance runners for the upcoming Confederates Cup in Russia. His reasoning is the All Whites will spend the majority of the big games without the ball and chasing the opposition, and they will need to make the most of the little time they're expected to have, i.e. quick counter-attacking football. Obviously, he didn't talk to the S&C coach before going to the media with this. Yeah,
you're a douchebag, the head coach. It just undermines I feel sorry for the S&C coach because New Zealand would have a good S&C coach there. He probably should have said that to the media. The biggest issue I have with that is football. So let's look at team-based sport, field-based sport, court-based sport. It's all stop-start nature, high-intensity, intermittent in nature, right? So it's periods of high-intensity, high-speed running with periods of low-intensity walking and low-intensity work for aerobic system. So you need aerobic development, no doubt, right? But it's about the athlete that can repeat high-intense efforts, or about the team that can repeat high-intense effort that's going to normally perform at a higher level. Think about how many times, if you GPS, and my area is not GPS, so for anyone out there, it's not my area, but GPS can give you a good quantitative, objective figure on the running zones, the intensities each athlete's in. Now, I guarantee you, if you saw their running patterns, most of the time they're running in that high speed bracket or in that medium sized bracket. They're not running at a low intensity for long periods of time. So then for prolonged periods of time, they're never running, so that long distance. So the fact you want to train them that way, yes, you need a decent aerobic system. I'm not saying you don't need, this is where people get me wrong, I'm not saying you don't need aerobic system, I'm not saying that at all, but we know for a fact through research, high intensity, high speed running is critical for athlete performance, but also injury reduction. So let's look at this question twofold. Number one, if you're not doing enough high speed running, you're going to get caught out when you actually need to do that. But number two, look at the injury prevention point of view as well. If you haven't done enough high speed running in training, and then you start doing high speed running, your accelerations, your decelerations, your change direction, rapid cutting, and if you don't do that enough in a game, what do you think is going to happen, Alex? What do you think is going to happen?
Injury?
They're going to get injured because they haven't prepared their body for those stresses. You've always got to prepare for the worst case scenario. So if you haven't done enough high speed running, you're getting in trouble when you start needing to do that in the game, and you're going to break down. Now, once again, conditioning we all know is not really my area. You'd have to talk to a guy like Jay, but this is just my take on it. And everyone knows I'm a big neuro guy, neuromuscular guy, so I'm really big on developing strength, power, speed, and getting you mainly conditioning through your training, through match simulation, through your competition gameplay, right? I'm a big believer in that. Traditional strength training, ballistic explosive strength training, speed, and skill, getting your conditioning. So if you need to do your supplementary skill, you could do that through your MAS running, your peak effort work. I understand that, but I'm a real big believer in getting all your conditioning through your skill-based work. A lot of people don't believe me with that, small-sided games, but that's fine. But you've got to realise I'm in the private sector. I'm not in team-based sport. I'll never go to team-based sport. I don't like it. I like training different sports. I like, doing different things. I don't like getting confined down. So that's probably my take on that question. I think that's his answer. He should have gone to the performance coach first because it kind of gives off a feeling that saying training for an Ironman, making them ultra-endurance. Moreover as well, you're going to slow yourself down when you're doing constant endurance work. We know that because if you're training anaerobic and aerobic systems at once, you're training a lot of aerobic, it's going to slow you down through concurrent training of the interference effect as well. So you don't want to be doing too much aerobic work. You need to be doing work that's more specific to the sport, which is that repeat effort work as well. And you just manipulate the work-rest ratios based on your goals as well. That's the answer I would give to it. Does that, you reckon that answers it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Short and concise.
Omar Khan from Facebook is what
Omar.
He said he's got a question for hashtag Ask Goanna.
What? You're not going to put that guy next to me, are you?
It's going right there.
Yep.
You don't talk much about ankle mobility and strength as well as calf strength compared to hip mobility and glute activation. I struggle with my ankles more than anything, and I find I can roll my ankles so easily these days, just changing direction or doing something so fickle. I do all my lifts, running, jumping, changing direction stuff, but I still have issues. What's the best thing to increase my ankle strength and mobility to decrease injury?
Okay, so if you look at the ankle in general, I'm a real big believer. A lot of people don't believe this, but I've used this for fucking years. It's worked for all my rehab, and I've told you I'm really results-based. I couldn't give a fuck what a really study says that 1986 says this. I don't care. My results are real world. I get athletes back to sport bigger, stronger, faster. That is my job. That's why they pay me money. a really good quote I've used with you guys in the internship is what's theoretical isn't always practical. What's theoretical isn't always practical. What's done in the lab isn't always transferable to that environment. Okay, really good quote there. So what I'm saying about that is it's the 80-20 rule, right? When you go to uni, and if you're real theory based, you go to uni, you think everything, in uni, it's 80% theoretical, 20% practical. When you come out, it flips. It's 80% practical, 20% theoretical. So that's a big one first off that I use. So everything that I use is real world. I have to get results. I don't give a fuck what a study says. Really, I'm guided by science. I'm not held by science every way. Sometimes I can't give you a reason why it works, but I know the basic science behind it. Yes, I'm very science-based, but I'm not to the point where I quote studies like people do to me all the time. Like I could bring up a study, I could bring up an example right now, but I won't. Where a guy was bringing up a study that was done in 2000, and my study that I bought out, and I actually proved it. I proved what I used was study, and I said I've been using it for years, was on lower back pain, and this study came out in 2000 to this year, and it said that doing glute activation work and mobility work minimises lower back pain. And this guy brought out a study in 2000 and said the opposite or counteracted that. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I've been proving it for years that if you do mobility, if you do glute activation work, it's going to minimise back pain because you're actually structurally changing something. You're activating the glutes, you're mobilising the hips.
What about the ankles though?
I'm going on to that, Alex. Hold on. I've gone on a tangent. Let me go on a tangent, Alex. Fuck, now you ruined my fucking mood now. It's fucking tangents. So he's talking about the ankle, right? And I say I don't talk about the ankle a lot. I don't. Okay, I really don't talk about the ankle a lot. If we look at Boyle's joint by joint theory, we know that joints need mobility and stability. Some needs more mobility than stability. Some needs more stability than mobility. So when we look at the ankle joint, the ankle needs mobility. We know that, okay? So we need free movement, right? And this is where I brought up before, and people get butthurt about this all the time. Physios, doctors get butthurt about this, but they don't understand. I say a real generalized view, and then you got to realize when I say it, it's got to be generalized because I'm not talking about one specific athlete. It's just a general view on it. Now, of course, there's going to be some athletes that need to tape their ankles. So I'm talking about taping ankles. And what I say was, why the fuck would you want to tape your ankle when your ankle needs mobility? Your ankle needs free range of motion. And people say, why do you need that? Well, look at triple extension. You sprint, you jump, you change direction. That's triple extension, right? You need plantar flexion, right? So why the fuck would you tape your ankle? Why would you minimize that range of motion? It makes no sense. Moreover, the fact that you're going to get stuck with that tape's good for proprioception because it's going to give greater feedback to your sensory receptors in your ankle, your connective tissue, your joints, stuff like that. So we've got proprioceptors in the connective tissue relaying information back through our sensory input. So you've got efferent pathways down your brain. So efferent motor, 2, efferent back 2, sensory. Okay, so you got when you put ankle tape on, you're going to feel a lot more, aren't you? Have you taped your ankle?
No, actually.
No, okay. Well, when you tape your ankle, it feels stable, right? But wouldn't you think you're going to rely on that then? Of course, it's going to become reliant on it, right? This is where people get butthurt about this, where taping companies go at me and go, and people always have invested interest in it. They go, well, fuck, this is fucking real good tape. Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's good tape, but what I'm saying is, during a game, I don't think you should, well, during training, I don't think you should tape it. You should get as strong as possible. Then during the game, if you want to tape it, that's fine. I would suggest don't tape it that tight because you're not going to have mobility through it. So if you're saying you sprain your ankle, right, what happens is you get scar tissue through a sprain, depending on how bad it is. A lot of athletes, when they sprain their ankle, we get it all the time, is they don't do proper rehab on it. Never. They're like, sprain ankle will be fine in 21 days, whatever it is, and I'll come back and I'll be fine. But what happens is with the scar tissue, what do you think scar tissue does? It minimises the range of motion. And you haven't brought it back to normal range of motion, so that's where you're going to have troubles with it. Then you compensate up and down the kinetic chain, and that's where you start getting injured. So if we're looking at this question is, you need to start working on, number one, you need to get a real good rub and rub out the scar tissue because that's going to break up the scar tissue, number one. So a good massage therapist can do that. Number two is improving the mobility through your ankle. Can I get up and show them what I can do? Okay. So the first one that I'll use, and this is real good for it, is what we call a needle wall. I take your shoes off first of all, and I do it with my athletes. I like taking the shoes off so you can see a little bit more mobility because the shoes might hide it. You start on the wall. And you can don't start too far away, so you can start pretty close to start. And just to knead a wall. Just like that, so you're keeping your feet flat. And every time you can just move back. And you want to and there's going to come a point where your knee can't touch the wall anymore, okay? So you see how my knee can't touch the wall there? So you probably, there, touch the wall, come forward. You can do about 20 of these. And that's just trying to keep your heels flat as much as possible. And remember the movement, that's dorsiflexion, but for this we want, plantar flexion is that, dorsiflexion is that. So you can see I want to keep my heels flat and I'm dorsiflexing. So my toes coming up like that and I'm trying to improve the range of motion. That's the first one you can do. The second one you can do is probably my favorite, is you get a band. I don't have one here, but you get it'd be good for Mac Iron, macironfitness.com.au, but you can, I'll go get a fucking Mac Iron. So you get the band, put it around your forefoot like this, okay? hold it, so it's like you're doing a row. Like that. You're going to plantar flex, and then you're going to dorsiflex, and you're going to pull it right back. Plantar flex, dorsiflex, pull right back. Plantar flexed, dorsiflex. And this should prove mobility to your ankle as well, okay? So there's 2 movements you can use straight away to mobilise your ankle.
Here's a mystery question you don't know about.
Oh, here we go.
Really simple. Who is this from? Max O'Brien. Looking for opinions about blood flow restriction workouts. Have you ever seen those? You know what those are about?
Occlusion training.
I believe so. That's another word from it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've got no fucking idea. I don't know.
That's the answer. That's great.
Supposedly, I don't know, man. It's more bodybuilders, bro. I don't know.
DeFranco did a podcast on it.
Yeah, go look what Joe says, man. I've got no idea, bro. I think the only thing I would say about that is research it. I've never researched it. Actually, Timmy, one of my athletes actually asked me about it, and I said, mate, I don't fucking know. I got no idea with that shit. I don't know.
We were talking about the ankle before. This is actually goes well. Kaya Bengu.
How many questions are we getting these days?
It's coming in, man.
It's coming in thick and fast.
Ask Woodfords.
Yeah, of course, I got no fucking idea.
Very simple one. It goes from the ankle. Barefoot lifting or shoes for squats?
It's a good one. Barefoot lifting or shoes for squats. I've got some athletes. It comes down to personal preference of the athlete. I know for a fact we've got athletes who like using weightlifting shoes or chucks that are flat. Something that are flat. That's why you can deadlift in chucks or something like what are those shoes I wear? Wear them to fucking CQ.
You wear the same ones you wear to CQ in the gym?
No. Oh yeah, I do. The flat ones. They're real flat. Converse. But
oh, okay.
Yeah, I wear them Converse. They're flat.
All Stars.
All Stars. Yes, they're flat. So something like that. Chucks, Converse. Or conversely, you can go barefoot. The benefit of going barefoot, which I really like, is the proprioception component. Proprioception, you've got proprioceptors on your foot, and you can really feel that movement. You can feel where you're applying pressure. I call it tripod foot. Big toe, small toe heel when you're pushing your heels away from the earth. Really flat feet. So really flat foot and pushing away, and you're going to feel a lot better. So I get athletes. Notice how I get all my athletes to deadlift without their shoes. Yeah. Okay, that's just to feel the floor a lot better. Sometimes squats. I've got a few athletes that deadlift squat without shoes on, but most of the time they've either got weightlifting shoes, which has the wedge and more surface areas, so they can feel the movement a lot better, or they squat without. It's personal preference, but you've got benefits for both, really. You can squat without them, or you can squat with them. It's up to the personal preference of the athlete. Whatever is going to make them squat better, more efficiently, do that.
All right. Chevelle Samia from Facebook.
How many questions are we going today? Jeez. Gone through quick.
I studied and worked under Brad Cunningham. Is that someone you know maybe?
Who?
Brad Cunningham, and also a few mates and colleagues who worked for you, Ash Davies and Taylor.
Who?
Ash Davies and Taylor Atchison.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ash and Taylor, yeah.
And they've enjoyed learning from you.
They've enjoyed learning from me, have they? It's nice. Didn't think anyone would enjoy learning from me. Fuck.
After he saw the video from you on oxygen masks, which he loved, he was wondering, if oxygen masks restrict the amount of oxygen intake, wouldn't that help in terms of increasing your VO2?
So,
the bag's still there. It's still there.
No. No, it doesn't. As I said, I'm not a specialist in physiology, right? But what I told you about the oxygen mask or the altitude mask, they don't stimulate altitude. What the one effect that it will get, I know for a fact, is it will improve. I'm pretty sure I said it will improve lung capacity. I know it might improve lung capacity. That's the only adaptation I believe it gets. It won't improve your VO2 max, because it really can't improve VO2 max because you're not taking enough oxygen, because it's minimizing how much oxygen you can take in. Okay, so as I said before, it's not really going to improve anything apart from lung capacity, really, because you're not breathing in enough oxygen really to improve it. You're only breathing in minute amounts of oxygen because it's minimized. Like here's the straw. The perfect example is the straw once again. That's as much oxygen I can take in. So it's actually not, as I said before, it doesn't mimic altitude at low oxygenated conditions, it just minimises the amount of oxygen you can take in. So it's actually going to change your respiratory rate because you're going to suck in breath. So it's changing your breathing patterns, which is not good. It's not going to improve your VO2 max because you won't be able to take in enough oxygen. Because once again, I'll give you the example of the bag and the straw. It just won't do it. Okay, it's as I said, the only adaptation I know it can get is that lung capacity. That's all I know. Okay, but I wouldn't use it. I just wouldn't use it. If you're going to do it, you might as well do. I think Jay said last time, some deep underwater running with weights. That'll improve it a lot better. You might as well just do that. Just be careful when you do it as well. Be very careful where you do it. Or if you can go, there's a lot of altitude chambers around here now. Yeah. I know there's one around the corner from here where you can actually train. It says where you're training on, in terms of the altitude that you're training. That is perfect. That simulates altitude. But the issue with altitude is you have to be there for 2 weeks to get any benefit. So if you're there for a day or something, you're not going to get fucking any benefit. That's why they sleep all in those tents, because you get enough. You're actually sleeping in low oxygenated conditions. So it's mimicking low oxygenated conditions, but what the mask does, it doesn't mimic that. It just limits the amount of oxygen you can take in. So it's not going to improve VO2 max.
Last one.
Oh.
Again, a second time question asker, Daniel Ristevsky from Instagram. He really liked the last episode you did answering his question. But one more. How would you incorporate Plyometrics explosive jump movements as well as acceleration, deceleration drills in a training schedule without causing injury or strain?
You didn't ask me the CrossFit question.
I hadn't got it.
You hadn't seen it? We'll leave for next week then. We got a CrossFit question. I was waiting for it. I knew it was coming. It's on the Facebook page. We'll leave for next week. There's an exciting one for next week, so you get excited for next week's episode. So what was his question again? I was kind of zoned out.
How would you incorporate Plyometrics explosive jump movements, acceleration, deceleration into a training schedule without causing injury?
It's a very good question, but it's a wide open question because he hasn't given me the training age of them. They haven't given me the training age. Training status is critical. Number one, the first thing you want to look at is, well, what is the training status of the individual? Now, let's say you get a novice, right, and they come to you and then you just chuck everything at them at once. You chuck plyos, you chuck max strength work. That's too much load for them. So I want you to think as like everything I talk about when I talk about my athletes is a house. So I said when an athlete first comes down, you want to think of me like a builder. Now, would you build a house without foundations? No. So you want to lay the foundations first. So in a novice, you want to lay general foundations. So GPP. So it's all about functional strength, anatomical adaptation. Teach them how to hinge, teach them the skill of hinging, squatting, horizontal pull, vertical pull. My big six. Teach them movement competencies of those big six movements. That's laying the foundation. That's developing their chronic load. Okay, that's developing load to their body. Once they've got that chronic load, we've got that base structure, then we can build up from there. That's when we can build the house. So when we talk about the movements, he was talking about acceleration, deceleration, jumping, all this stuff. You can chuck that in, but it's starting at a base level. So it might be starting on just teaching how, I'm really big at breaking down skills into part and then bringing it together as a whole practice. So breaking each individual bit down. Let's give an example of a vertical jump. With a vertical jump, I break it down to 3 movements. The first one is the descent down. And I really break down that descent, teach them that eccentric lengthening, that stretch reflex. I want to teach them to come down quickly. The second thing I teach is the landing, because we know we want to talk about not only force production, but force reduction. Can they land properly? Do they have the eccentric strength, the ability to absorb the force, control the landing, to actually not get injured? So we talk about landing and deceleration. Once they've learned that, then we can bring it all together. The jump, the descent, the jump, then the land as well. So that's important, so you want to bring it all together. So that's fine if you just build them up slowly. So you want to slowly build that load and that tolerance through their body. But if you're throwing everything at them at once, we're teaching them accelerate, decelerate, it's not going to work. So the biggest thing that you need to learn, what was his name?
Daniel
is, first of all, is number one, getting a fundamental strength base. That's the first thing. I'm a real big believer in a fundamental strength base. So my big 6 movements is a good start to learn how to hinge, how to squat, how to push up, how to row, how to overhead press and chin. Once you've learned that, that's when you can start breaking down these motor skills and I would always suggest teaching landing and deceleration before sprinting and jumping. Okay, always coach force reduction before force production. Always. Okay, teach the little things first, the 1%ers that's going to improve performance and minimize chance of injury. Okay, that's the first thing. And once they've learned those fundamental movements, those fundamental patterns that's going to stop injury, that's when you can teach them the sprinting, the jumping, all those explosive movements. Because if you don't have that base first, they don't have that load built up, that's when they get injured. Okay, and that's where it's really important to hire someone who's an educated and applied strength and conditioning coach who can programming is everything, man. The amount of shit we should do an episode on this. So I'll throw it out to you guys. If you guys want me to do an episode on programming is a big one where a lot of coaches I know you struggled at the start. Now you've been under me for like a few months. Now you're starting to understand how simplistic it can be. People linear, non-linear, you know, how am I supposed to do it, wave loading, you know, all these big things that come into it where it's very simplistic. Most people just need the basics, you know, fundamental patterns. You know, we've got 8 areas of exercise prescription that we look at, we want to hit certain areas of it. A lot of people get overwhelmed with it. But if you can stick to the fundamentals of program design, understand how to understand fundamental sports science principles, how to apply them in a practical sense for that each individual athlete, and then then you've got the program where it's half programming, half coaching. You can have a great program, but if you can't coach and implement it, it's no point. Remember what Boyle said? A poor program implemented well is better than a good program implemented poorly. Do you see what I'm saying? Coaching is everything. Coaching represents everything in this industry. Okay, if you can program but can't coach, it's fucking useless. But if you can program and coach, that's money in the bank for you. Okay, so you've got to understand, if you can, if I can write this fucking great program, but if you can't coach it, you can't communicate that message to the athlete, you can't get the athlete to do what you want to do, it's fucking useless. So it's really important you hire a qualified and educated and applied strength conditioning coach. I know a lot here, ChristianWoodford.com and Woodford Sports Science Consulting. So if you want to hire us, if you don't know, if we're not in Victoria, go to our online. If you want to go to our online and then get a coach to take you, I can recommend a coach from all around Australia. I've got networks through all around Australia who can do that for you. But please, for the fucking love of God, if you're out there, go fucking hire someone with a degree qualification or someone who's actually got results on the board who can actually coach and has a background in understanding sports science. Please do it. Because the amount of people say they're performance coaches these days and fucking just done Cert 3 and 4 and they just train them like a bodybuilder is fucking unbelievable. So actually hire someone with education, please. This industry is developing. Start off asking for qualifications, ask for results, who do they coach, what are their backgrounds, please start asking that, because if we want to develop this industry, we start to need to move forward. Education is number one, results is number two, okay? Does that, you reckon that answers the question? Very good. Alex, give me the thumbs up. Any more questions?
No.
Boom, short and sharp this week. What do we have? 28, 30 minutes. Fuck, have I rambled on for fucking that long? There we go.
A lot of questions.
A lot of questions. Guys, I'm loving these questions. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for pumping this up. Thank you for telling people. Thank you for writing for questions. I appreciate this. Alex and we didn't realise this would get this big, but it's been fucking great. I'm loving it. I'm loving your questions. I'm loving answering questions. Hopefully you guys get a lot out of it. You're learning a lot because I always get a lot of questions. Also, if you want to intern, we've still got spots available for our internship, for our first performance mentorship. Okay, still got spots available. We're doing interviews in 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks left to put your application in to learn under myself and my staff. Please email education@woodfordssc.com to put in your application. Trainers, coaches, athletes. If you want to learn under Woodford methods, the science, the art, and the proven systems behind how we make athletes bigger, stronger, faster, and rehab them, email education@woodfordssc.com now. Once again, I'd like to thank all you guys for watching episode 5 of Ask Woodford. Episode 6 next week, we'll be asking the CrossFit question, I'm sure, for Alex. Thank you for my producer, Alex Sandaris. For everyone else, you have a good week, and thank you for watching. Done. Boom. There we go. Short and sharp, baby. That's how we do it.
Good job.